Hello, I'm Rick Steiner with Steiner Event Group. Welcome back to Lux Life Discovered. Our co-host today is Shannon Richmond with the Panama City Beach Chamber of Commerce.
Thanks for having me, Rick.
You're welcome. Glad you're here. And our guest today is the local Shane Williams. Shane, glad to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
Good deal. So I ran across I follow where you work on the weekends, Island Time.
Yes, Island Time Sailing.
And actually a very interesting picture of you and got another guy that works
Captain Clay, yep.
right? And y'all were
Yes, sir.
mimicking the two girls that worked there.
Grace and Liv.
Saw that picture. Interesting. So yeah, but so I have seen different pictures on posts on their site.
Yes.
And what's had my attention is the catamaran that you sail.
Yes.
So we'll just start with the catamaran.
Sure.
What should someone expect if they go out on it that has never been out on one before?
So it's a very laid-back trip. The whole point of going on Island Time is to hang out, have a good and very easy time. So it's a 50-foot sailing catamaran. It's a sloop-designed sailboat as well. So basically it means it has the main sail in the middle, and then it's got the jib sail up front. Lots of space to go up. It's not a full bar, but we serve like rum punches and stuff down below and everything. But there's a lot of space to be able to walk around, and we can actually fit up to about 70 people on that boat completely maxed out.
Yeah.
I prefer trips, I would say max of like 60, 63. I think that just fits better. But it's a very chill trip. The first hour pretty much is just driving around, sightseeing, all that kind of good stuff. Then we have an hour in the middle where we snorkel, get out, go check out Shaw Island, go check out the beach and everything like that.
Fun.
And then at the end, we just kind of like a little party as we go back in. And we run about 4 trips a day, too.
And how long is each trip?
3 hours. The sunset trip is actually a little bit shorter. It's about 2.5 hours, just depending on what time the sun actually sets.
Right.
But we do run 3 snorkel trips throughout the day, and then we have the sunset at night.
Good deal. So how long have you been doing this?
I've been working with Marty and Caleb for about 4 years. Beforehand, I used to work on the pontoons, which is just running those out and sending them out to the island. But last year is when I started sailing. And honestly, I was very surprised. It's really not too hard to learn.
I was going to ask you,
It took about 2 weeks before I really had all the ropes down.
Yeah.
And now it took time to get faster and better at it. But it really wasn't rocket science. And it's a really, really cool boat. Like, I don't know how much you guys know about boats. But, sorry, I just dropped my keys. But it's a lot of boat. If you like, the biggest boat before this that I've ever driven was legitimately like a pontoon boat, and then I went straight up to a 50-foot boat that's 24-foot wide.
All right, does this have a motor on it?
It does. So we actually have 2 catamarans. Island Time 1 is our older vessel, but Island Time 2 I believe is a 2019 sailing cat, and it has 2 inboard diesel motors, and we just put 2 140 Honda motors on the back of the original Island Time.
Okay.
We normally don't drive with the motors as much. That's normally just to kind of get out into open water, and then once we get out there, we start to sail and all that kind of good stuff. But mostly these boats operate 100% off of sail power.
Okay. So how many people?
I'm always the deckhand.
Deckhand.
Always deckhand. We have a bartender, a deckhand, and the captain.
Okay.
That's the only 3 people that work there those days.
Does the bartender ever help with the sailing part if needed?
If needed.
Okay. I was just curious.
Yes.
It's a big boat. I didn't know how you.
Normally, the bartender will come up whenever we're anchoring down. It's a very big boat. The hardest thing that we do is anchoring down. So we'll have one person on the back of the boat throwing out the stern anchor, and then we'll have one of us on the front just telling you how deep it is to make sure that we can walk out and set out the second anchor.
Wow. Okay.
But that's pretty much the only time that we ever need 2 people to deckhand on the boat. Other than that, I can raise a sail by myself. I can do all the other stuff by myself.
That's cool.
It's a great time.
So before this, you did pontoon boats?
I did. Same company, though.
Okay.
Yes.
So did you just have a love for water?
I always have. I like being outside. And that's, as I was saying earlier, I can't do a desk job. That was always the hardest thing for me.
You found that out, right?
Well, I tried. I even told him. He still wanted to keep me too. He's like, okay, we'll figure out something. We'll just have you be like a rep where you go talk to people outside of the office. And I was like, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Which meant I had to do actually a little bit more schooling for that, which kind of sucks. But other than that, I can get
yeah,
through
but
that.
networking, once you get that networking, and you've
Absolutely.
already got the personality for
Well,
it.
thank you.
Go ahead.
It's a very good workplace. But I mean, even with the insurance stuff, it's a great workplace. I mean, Brian Daffin's a good guy. I mean, hopefully,
He's awesome.
maybe he'll see this.
We'll make sure we send him that clip.
Shout out.
Yes.
I like Brian. He's a nice guy, and he runs a really fun office? Every time I go in there, everybody's smiling.
They're
they're
kind
happy.
people. They are kind
Yeah.
people.
So
Yes.
you're going to be outside of the office now?
Yes. So I actually take my licensing exam on Tuesday.
Oh,
So I'll be a 220 agent after that.
very
But
good.
basically what that means is I can just talk about insurance outside of the office.
Okay.
Like I could have got my 440 license, which means I have to stay inside the office, but I did like 3 days of that and my brain was like melting. So I was
Right.
like, I need to be outside.
Yeah, I understand.
And that's not even a lack of respect on anybody in the office. They're all great people.
Yeah.
My
No,
brain
I
just
understand.
can't pull it off like
We
they
We
do.
just talked to somebody else that was a painter. He said if you gave him a painting and he went in his office to do it, it would probably take him 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But he can go to a live place and just paint abstract. He can get it done like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's probably, you
Just-
got a fast thinking brain.
I'd say it's ADHD in my opinion.
We're just going to make it work.
Right.
We'll
We're gonna
make it
call-
work, exactly.
We're going to say you need to be out there.
Yeah, I need stimulation. I need to see stuff
Okay.
going on. But let me tell you though, Island Time is like perfect for that.
I bet.
Oh, yeah.
And you
And-
probably get to relax a little bit.
I bet that
It
Sunday
is,
cruise
yes.
just amazing.
Sunset Cruise is beautiful.
And you get all those people to talk to and different people.
That's actually my favorite part.
Yeah.
So there are two ways to go about this job, and it is one of those jobs that you get out what you put in. The more fun that you're having as an employee, the more fun the people on the boat are going to have.
True.
And also, you make more money whenever people are having a good time.
Right.
When you work in a job like that, it's like tip-based and everything. The better experience people have, the more money you're going to make.
Right.
But I've met some really, really cool people on the boat. Like, I want to say one time, like I want to say it was in July, a UFC fighter came on the boat. His name is Rafael Asensio. I butcher his last name every time I try to say it. But he was like a top 5 bantamweight fighter in the UFC. And now we like follow each other on Instagram and stuff. And like after his fights, like, yo, you did pretty good. And he'll get back to me and everything. Yeah, exactly. He's like, oh, thanks, man.
That's pretty cool. That was the other reason I wanted to have you on, because you're local. Your dad is retired from Air Force, right?
Yes, he was 26 years in the Air Force,
All right.
retired.
And so how were you when they relocated here and stayed here?
I've been here for a while. We moved here when I was 10, so it's been about 13 years.
So you are local then.
I would say this is more home than anywhere else in the world for me.
Exactly. So what's it like being local and working with one of the most popular attractions in the area, and then seeing all the people come? This is their week away, their time away, and then they're spending that time with you on the boat. So
Best job I ever had,
yeah, really.
hands down. And it's just a fantastic place to work. There's only one downside, and this is not even really a jab at the job or anything like that. Just long hours.
Yeah.
That's it. That is the only thing.
And you got to keep smiling, got to keep that face
Absolutely.
going.
I don't have a problem with that. I like people enough to
Yeah.
where like it doesn't bother me. Like them being on the boat for 16 hours is not what's bothering me. It's
You
just
just
the
want to make
sun.
sure they're happy. You want to make sure they're having a great time.
Absolutely. And it does get tiring. Like when I go home, I go to bed. Like that's what I do afterwards. But I'm really big into lifting and stuff too. And that's something I can't like negotiate on. That's something I have to do. I don't compete or anything with any of that kind of stuff, but I make sure that I go to the gym at least 4 to 5 days a week on top of that.
Wow.
And it gets really tedious in like June and
Long
July.
day, for sure, yeah.
Absolutely, because I work out on the beach, but I also live in town in like Lynn Haven area.
Okay.
So afterwards, I drive like 30 minutes back in town after that. So I'll probably get home at midnight some nights after it's all said and done.
But you get that workout in.
I do. I have to. It's good for my mind.
Wow.
It's
That's
kind of
dedication.
unwind.
That's very good.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was kind of a little bit of spite too, because my brother also
Well,
works a job
let's
with me,
hear.
and it's not anything real. But I remember he was complaining, so he stopped lifting when he worked on Island Time before I did, and he was just like, "Yeah, once you start working out here, you're gonna stop too." And I was like, "Watch, yeah, I was like, watch, I won't."
Competition.
Motivation.
Absolutely. I just want to prove him wrong. It had nothing to do with anything else. I was just like, well, I'm going to anyways.
So has he gotten back into work? Is he still working?
He doesn't do it too much, but now that I got a little bit more free time in my afternoons, I started doing some other stuff too, like jujitsu and everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've never been in a fight in my entire life, so I mean, but I know how to now, I guess.
So would you ever compete?
In jujitsu, maybe.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah. As far as like lifting and goes, it's more of a hobby.
Yeah.
I
Something you
just
enjoy. Yeah.
I just find it fun. I feel good and it makes you look a little better, so I just kind of enjoy doing that. But there's nothing really too deep about that one for me.
Yeah.
But jujitsu is just a blast. I used to be a swimmer in college,
Okay.
And whenever I lost that like competitive need, it was really weird for me. Like because I've been swimming for almost 10 years and like going to meets every weekend and like traveling all over the Southeast, going to like championship stuff. But then all of a sudden, like whenever I did my like literally my senior year, it just stopped and I was like, wow, what do I do? I have all this free time on my hands. But that's when I just started getting to like lifting and jujitsu and stuff because I thought that would be a nice replacement for that.
Yeah,
But there's also no like push for me to do that anymore. I just kind of do it for fun
that's great.
because it was like paying for school and everything. So I kind of had to. When I was in it, I was in it.
Yeah.
Compete in college.
I went to Truman State in Missouri.
Okay.
All my family is like initially from Missouri, and specifically that town I went to college in.
Yeah.
But
So
this
you had a lot of family come support you.
I did, which was very nice.
Yeah.
It was weird being away from my immediate family because they lived here in Florida. But I had a bunch of other people backing me up there, which was really nice.
That's good. That's good. Well, I just think it'd be interesting because we had, it's been back in the summer, we had two guys, a local from Fort Walton, and then a friend of mine, a guy that I know in Kentucky that came down to work for the summer. So we had a local and local, non-local on. So it's always interesting to hear your perspective, like people coming in, because basically your hometown and everything you do is invaded.
It is every single summer, and there's a bigger population of tourists there at any given point than actual people living there,
Right.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
But once again, I mean, you really get to meet some cool people. I mean, that's kind of a perspective thing because some people are just like they're driving through town, they see a bunch of license plates not from here, and they're like, there's traffic, and I'm mad
Right.
about it. But granted, I don't like traffic more than the next guy. But
But you see, you're bringing in money to our community.
Absolutely.
Bring it on. We'll wait traffic a
that
little
is
longer.
what our town is. I signed
right.
up for this. Yeah, by living here, that is what I signed up for.
Well, and then you get to see people and go out and enjoy themselves, relax, and they're out for an adventure. And you're the person that is key to make that adventure happy for them. And so that
I like to think so.
well, no, because that's the you run on the boat that they never would be on, probably where they live. And I didn't know the boats are huge. I mean, I knew
It's
they
a
were
big
big,
vessel.
but as far as carrying that many people and having that much room, never thought about it. So I guess we need to go check it out.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And honestly, be happy to have y'all out there. It's legitimately a blast. I mean, as a person that sees it 4 times a day, every day,
And you
I still enjoy it. There's never a dull moment.
That's pretty cool.
You get to see the dolphins every day too, don't you?
Just about every day, 4 times a day. And I like the dolphins. Like, the dolphins are always cool to me.
Yeah.
That part truly never gets old.
Oh, absolutely not.
But
So what do you see going forward?
honestly, I can never fully give up working there. It truly and honestly, like, it's too much of a good time.
Yeah.
It's good money too. Like, if I were to just be doing that still, I would still be making a pretty solid living. Like, I wouldn't be rich, that's for certain, but I would very much enjoy being out there still. And it's always enough to do that. And as I said, the more fun you have, the more money you make. So the more good of a time I have, the better I'm doing anyways.
True.
So
That's awesome.
I know. To be young and have an attitude already, I mean, that's what it's all about. Because,
That's right.
you'll find people, and I've been there and I've known people that have worked, a job that they totally hate, they tolerate, and, there's no enjoyment there. You're making me want to go not be a captain. I don't want to be a deck. I just want to go on the
boat. I just want to be on the boat. Yeah.
think about that.
Being a captain's not a bad gig, and I have the hours to get my captain's license,
Oh.
which would be fun.
How many hours you have to have for that?
I want to say it's like 300 nautical hours, but I have no, it's way more than that. It's like 3,000. Sorry, that was a
That's okay.
complete butcher. I hit that in like 2 months out there. But I've been working on the pontoons for 3 years. And then when I went over to Island Time, I mean, I was living on that boat 16 hours a day, every single day. And
That's like your boat.
pretty much. And that's basically my family at this point. Like, I mean, I've literally seen those people more than my own family in the past, and like who live up the road from me
Right.
in like the past 4 years.
That makes sense.
I mean, they're the closest people I have as friends still to this day. Like
That's great.
I hang out with all of them. after work, we all go get drinks. We'll all go get some dinner together.
That's nice.
It's a perfect job.
Oh, I bet.
Absolutely.
So are some of them like a booze cruise, would you say?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They say now before let me preface this.
Okay.
They do say to mention while we're advertising it
Yes.
that it's not a booze cruise per se.
Okay.
It's a family adventure. However,
AKA,
there is alcohol on board and a lot of it. You guys are welcome to take as much of that as you wish, and we will not stop you unless there's a problem.
Right.
So,
Unless you're going to jump overboard or something.
absolutely.
Yeah, but I've seen tons of families take those cruises, and I know the sunset cruises are amazing. I've heard a lot of people talk about it. Because you guys are a member of our chamber, I hear a lot of fantastic, oh my gosh, we went out on this, and anytime they come in and ask for a place to go and we tell them, we say, please give us the feedback, just so we know. And we've gotten so much, we've loved it. There's dolphins. I mean, that's all you can ask for.
Absolutely.
Is for people to be excited and enjoy what they did.
Well, it's always really fun to read the bad reviews too, though.
Oh, you get bad ones?
Very uncommon. So we if you look at our actual reviews, we are pretty well 5-star company.
Okay.
But the ones that you do get the 1 stars, it's weather was bad.
yeah,
It's deckhand was nice about it, but the weather was bad. 1 star. It was well,
I'm good at what I do, but there's a limit. Yeah.
there's a limit.
That's so funny.
I don't decide any of this stuff.
Isn't that funny though? How they feel like they need to give you that review?
I know. It blows my mind every time.
Yeah.
And here's our thing: we do a speech at the beginning. If there's weather coming out too, it's our first thing we say. Listen, guys, weather looks a little dicey. If y'all want to do this, we'll do this. We're not afraid. But if you don't, we will give you a full refund. We'll head right back up there and we can do that for you. We can also change days, no change in cost or anything. Just let us know. And it almost always devolves in everybody saying, let's do it. And then lightning is just crashing around us. Just absolutely. By that fun, their refund is null and void. And we're I'm sorry, guys.
Make a choice, yeah. Well, and if you, there's no way to please everybody.
Absolutely not.
So if they're going to complain about the weather and give a 1 star, they complain about it if some other reason.
It is what it is, but more often than not, we almost always get good people that are always being there to have a good time.
Sure.
I remember one of my last trips I did last season before we closed down for the winter. We had the entire boat sitting in a circle talking about conspiracy theories. For because it was too cold to get in the water, nobody wanted to get in. We're all right, when you guys want to pass time? I was conspiracy theories. That went on for 2 hours, and everybody was having a great time. It was but stuff like that. There's no script when you're out there.
Right.
Everything you have to do is just basically entertainment, but it's kind of on the spot.
Because it's all the dynamics of the people on the trip.
Absolutely. The only thing that ever comes out amongst customers when I'm talking to them that's the same sentence is, where are you guys from? That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And then anything from there, it's just a different and unique conversation. But we've had some really just interesting and
What's
awesome
been your
people.
best trip? It could be the best tip, the best people, the most fun.
Honestly, my best tip day wasn't even my favorite trip. They tipped us a lot of money, which made me happy, but honestly, my favorite trip had to do this. It was probably towards the end of the season again. There's only 20 people on the boat. It was pretty small, but I was all right, guys, it's just you. It was a family of 20. They booked out that day, but we had enough people to go out, and I was what do you guys want to do? We have the whole boat and just you guys. This is your trip now. And we
Cool.
they picked their own spot on the island. We hung out, they were talking and all that kind of stuff. And honestly, it wasn't anything that really set it out as far as we saw cool things like sea animals, we saw sharks and stuff. But it was just a good time. You could just tell that this family was just having a blast out there.
Oh, that was their private boat that day.
Absolutely. And it was so we didn't know that was going to happen, because normally when you want to get a private trip, you have to buy that special.
Right.
But 3 other families
That's how
bailed.
they're having fun. They're yeah.
Oh, they scored. We let them put their own music on and everything. We're
And you didn't realize that
anything.
they tell people at the parking lot they canceled the trip that day so they could have that.
They might have. All I'm saying is we had a great time.
That's good.
So-
So is there not a limit, or is there a limit?
There is a limit to amount of people on there.
A minimum.
A minimum, correct. There is a minimum as well. So we won't go out unless, like, so if peak season's around, which it's almost never the case, we are booked out from start to finish, like peak season. But no less than 10 people on the boat.
Okay.
It just makes sure that it's worth it for us to even go out. It's a big boat. It takes a lot of, like, even when you're running those engines just for a little bit, it takes a lot of gas to move those things.
Right.
And just our service hours are paying us and everything.
Sure.
And so they make sure is always 10 just to make sure that it's worth it for any of us to go out. But even if there's only 10 of us, sometimes you only have one person on the boat with the captain.
Okay.
Wow.
Just to make sure that, they make their money.
Yeah. So when you do the snorkeling part, do you provide the snorkeling gear?
We do provide the snorkeling gear. So we clean, and I promise you guys they're clean. I swear. We do have to reuse them. That's just how it is.
Well,
Yeah. But we clean them between every single trip. That's one of the few things that we have to do between every trip. But we have.
But that's nice.
Like,
They don't have to lug all their stuff. You
absolutely.
have
The whole
everything there.
point is convenience.
Yeah.
We want everybody to show up as they are and just have a good time.
I need you to be a spokesman for my company. I mean, that energy, that
I know it.
positive and loving it. Yeah, that's yeah.
Well, I'm honored.
Like, dang, that's a happy group there. I want to work with them.
Every time I've been there, they're happy.
Well, see, the only thing that's depressing is the off season because you don't see anybody. Like, we're all just messaging each other like, hey, what are you guys doing today? Like, do you want to do something? And they're like, oh, we're out of town. I'm like, oh, okay. It's like, I miss you guys.
That's great.
Well,
So, go ahead.
it was like, whenever I got this job at Dolphin Insurance, all like 3 or 4 of them messaged me like heartbroken. They're just like, please tell me you're coming back to some extent. I'm like, I will be there on weekends. I just need to give this a go. I worked pretty much 5 to 6 days a week out there on the water, which was amazing. But the only downsides of the job are almost always weather.
Right.
If you get a rainy summer, you get a rainy paycheck.
That's
But
true.
if you get a beautiful summer, you get a very beautiful paycheck.
Yeah.
And I will say, last summer we were blessed. Last summer was amazing, almost all the way through. No complaints the entire time, except for the heat.
Oh, yeah.
But other than that,
Can't help that.
nothing. Everybody was dealing with that. That wasn't just us.
So during
Yeah.
season, will you be working 7 days a week, 5 days at Daffin and 2 days at Island Time?
Pretty much.
But you feel like Island Time's your downtime where you can just be you, have a good time.
Especially just 2 days a week. I won't get any bit tired of any of that at 2 days a
Yeah.
week. Like, I won't be complaining to be out there.
Yeah.
The only time I complained was when I was hungry. But I mean, it's just 2 days a week. That's so pleasant.
Everybody's going to
And
be calling you Rick wanting his number to hire him.
Exactly. Well, I'm just thinking we need to do the 4 of us need to jump on one of our.
Hey, the Chamber's idea camps are only 50 people. You can hold us.
Well, he's
Yeah?
on the boat already. Paul's like, you can't count as 5. He's going to be there.
I'll start coming out in March. We'll need to be filling up that boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only thing is, March time, you'll be filling it up with a bunch of
Oh.
spring break kids.
Yep.
Well, we'll pass.
We'll pick our own day.
Right. We'll get some senior citizens, spring breakers, and that. So, speaking of spring break, does it get wild on there with the spring breakers sometimes?
Now, I will say, college kids, and this is not even an insult to college kids. I was literally a college kid like 2 years ago. Generally get themselves in the most trouble.
Okay.
For instance, and I'm not even throwing these people under the bus. We go to a place like the jetties in Panama City. We'll go out there. That's a great snorkel spot. But oftentimes there's a current right by the jetties that's decently strong. It can pull you out. I was a college swimmer. I'm normally the rescue guy if something happens. So I normally am the one that goes out and does that. These people are nice. As I said, this is no insult. It's not like I'm throwing a name out there or anything. One of the sisters went out on a paddleboard and was getting sucked out into the current. So I went out, I swam out and I kind of grabbed onto one of the rocks. I was like, hey, make sure you swing out this way and head back in to make sure that, you don't get sucked out any further. Thumbs up, we're good. I turn around and her sister had followed me out to try and help and then got sucked out and knocked them both off the paddleboard.
Oh, no.
And they got sucked out into the and I was basically a flotation device and trying to keep them afloat in the water. Took us 45 minutes to get them back into the boat. and they felt horrible about it. But they were
You're right.
nice
They
people.
get themselves in trouble,
Even,
but not on purpose.
not on purpose. It's not because they're bad people. They were just, it was a total.
Yeah.
I'm gonna help you.
Yeah, that's why she came out. She came out to help me help her sister.
Right.
She didn't realize that there was a rip current that anything short of a college swimmer could not escape.
Wow.
And I'm hardly even that anymore. I haven't swam in a pool in like 2.5 years. But it was just, everybody was fine.
Yeah.
Life and limb was intact.
Life and limb. So every day you get to see a beautiful sunset when you're out there.
Every day except for a cloudy day. But honestly, this summer we had some stellar sunsets. I mean, as somebody that literally sees a sunset just about every day, it never got old.
Oh,
That-
I
Well, I don't live here all the time, but when I'm here, it's just like every sunset, it's just amazing. And
Mhm.
people don't understand that. I don't know, it's just like you don't notice it when you're, like I live in Kentucky, but you see it, but you don't really. I mean, suns are beautiful, but when it's on the water, it's just a
Oh,
whole
yes.
different-
And when you see them, everybody posting them all over Facebook, you think that they put a filter on them. Nope.
Right.
No, that's how it looks here.
I know.
Everything's golden at that
So
time here. People don't realize how beautiful of a place it is that we live here.
Right.
I know a lot of people that I grew up with here. They're like, I need to get out of Panama City. It's like I've lived a lot of places, and there are great places. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you can't find a great life in Colorado or California or the West Coast or anything like that. But Panama City and just this area in general, I mean, the panhandle of Florida is stunning.
That's true.
And it really is what you make it. Like, if you can have a good attitude about it and love it here, or if you can.
We're gonna see you do big things. I already know.
I hope
Well,
I hope that
Know
works.
that.
Anytime we get down, like caution. We need to pick me up
Yeah.
real quick. Well, I can't believe our time is up already.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
I know it went fast, and I'm glad I contacted you to be on the podcast because it's just fun to hear your perspective, but also your energy and enthusiasm. Man, you're our fourth podcast today, and you just perked us back up there, so that's good.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. Thank you guys for having me out here. I'm sorry I was a little bit late, too. I
You were live.
zoomed from
Yeah.
work out here.
I appreciate that.
At the speed limit, of course, We're not breaking the law.
All right, I'm Rick Steiner, and that concludes our episode of Lux Life Discovered. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube and podcast, and we will see you soon.
Check out Lux Life Discovered on Facebook and Instagram and on 30a.tv. See you next time on Lux Life Discovered.